The Stardust Drifter's airlock sealed behind them with a metallic clang, Jack's ship embracing them like a sanctuary after the dying gasp of the research station. Elena's legs buckled, the psychological weight of her near-death experience finally catching up with her. Jack caught her elbow, steadying her. "Easy there," he murmured, his voice gentler than she expected from a man with such rough edges. "First time being rescued from certain death." A laugh bubbled from Elena's throat, surprising her. "As a matter of fact, yes." Nova circled them, her luminescent markings pulsing with curiosity as she investigated their new environment. Jack watched the fox with undisguised fascination. "She's something else," he said. The pictures didn't do her justice. Elena was about to respond when the ship lurched violently, throwing them against the bulkhead. Jack's body shielded her from the impact, his arms instinctively protecting her. "What was that?" she gasped, aware of his proximity, the smell of engine oil and something uniquely him overwhelming her senses. Jack pushed himself off the wall, already moving toward the cockpit. "Nothing good. The station's breaking up faster than expected, debris must have hit us." Elena followed, Nova at her heels. The cockpit viewports showed the Artemis platform fracturing, sections tearing away as built-up pressure finally found release. "Your timing was impeccable," Elena said softly. "Another hour and..." "Let's not think about that," Jack replied, sliding into the pilot's seat and running his hands over the controls. "We've got a new problem. Primary engines are offline. Looks like debris punctured a fuel line." Elena's momentary relief evaporated. "Can we repair it?" Jack's expression was grim. "It's external. I'll need to go out there." "In that." Elena gestured to the maelstrom of debris now filling the viewport. "Unless you've got a better idea." Jack was already pulling out an EVA suit from a storage compartment. "The secondary thrusters can keep us stable for about 30 minutes, but after that, we'll drift into the debris field." Elena felt Nova press against her leg, the neural connection between them flaring with unexpected intensity. Through it, she sensed not fear but determination. "I'm coming with you," she heard herself say. Jack paused, one leg already in the suit. "Not a chance, document. I've done hundreds of EVAs during my research. And I know mechanical systems. I've been keeping that station running on prayers and duct tape for 15 days. She met his gaze steadily. "2 sets of hands will work faster than one." Something flickered in Jack's eyes, respect, maybe. He nodded once. "Second EVA suits in the emergency locker. But your fox stays here." 20 minutes later, they hovered outside the Stardust Drifter, magnetic boots anchoring them to the hull. The damaged fuel line was obvious, a clean puncture venting precious propellant into space. "Hold this," Jack instructed, passing her a sealing clamp. Their gloved hands brushed, and even through the layers of insulation, Elena felt a spark of connection. They worked in tandem, moving with the synchronized precision of dancers. Jack seemed surprised by her competence, his initial protectiveness giving way to collaborative respect. "Where'd you learn to handle repairs like this?" he asked over the comm. "My father ran a terraforming equipment shop on Mars," she replied, applying sealant to the patched line. "I grew up with a wrench in my hand before I ever picked up a microscope." Jack grinned behind his helmet visor. A woman of hidden talents. A piece of debris from the disintegrating station flashed past them, missing by inches. The station itself was now barely recognizable, its once elegant structure reduced to twisted metal. 2 years of my life," Elena murmured, watching her research home break apart. "All my work." "Not all," Jack corrected. "You got the backup drives, right? And more importantly, you and Nova made it out." Elena's throat tightened with emotion. "Thanks to you." Their eyes met through their visors, and time seemed to pause, the deadly ballet of debris momentarily forgotten. The spell broke as the ship's alarm blared in their headsets. "External repair complete," Jack announced. "Let's get inside before we become permanent additions to this debris field." Back inside the airlock, they removed their helmets simultaneously. Elena's hair floated free in the zero gravity, forming a dark halo around her face. Jack's eyes tracked the movement, his expression softening. "Never thought I'd be grateful for corporate penalties," he said cryptically. "What do you mean?" Jack ran a hand through his sweat-dampened hair. Detoring to rescue you is going to cost me about 80,000 credits in contract violation fees. Elena's eyes widened. That's an astronomical amount. Why would you? Because some things matter more than money, he interrupted, his voice rough with an emotion neither of them was ready to name. Some choices you just make and deal with the consequences later. The ship hummed to life around them as the repaired engines came online. Nova appeared in the corridor, her markings pulsing in a pattern Elena had never seen before. She likes you, Elena translated, the neural connection feeding her impressions of Nova's emotions. She senses your integrity. Jack laughed, a warm sound that seemed to fill the small ship. Smart fox. Their hands found each other, fingers intertwining without conscious thought, the connection forged in crisis deepening into something neither had expected to find in the cold emptiness of space. The earth grew larger in the viewport, a blue marble suspended in blackness, more beautiful than Elena remembered. 3 days had passed since their narrow escape, 3 days of navigating the complex new reality between them. Never thought I'd see that again, she whispered, Nova curled contentedly in her lap, the fox's luminescent markings pulsing gently in the dimmed lights of the cabin. Jack stood behind her, close enough that she could feel his warmth. Quite a sight, isn't it? No matter how many times I make this approach, it never gets old. The Stardust Drifter had become a sanctuary of sorts, their shared space creating an intimacy neither had anticipated. During the journey back to Earth, they'd fallen into an easy rhythm, sharing meals in the small galley, exchanging stories of their lives, working together to keep the patched-up ship functioning. Have you decided what you'll do? Jack asked, settling into the co-pilot's seat beside her. Once we land, I mean. Elena stroked Nova's fur, feeling the fox's steady heartbeat. Through their neural connection, she sensed contentment, but also anticipation, emotions that mirrored her own. The Research Foundation will want a full report, of course. And Nova's data is still groundbreaking, even with the premature end to the mission. She paused, gathering courage. But after that? I'm not sure. Everything feels different now. Jack's eyes held hers. Near-death experiences tend to have that effect. It's not just that, Elena admitted softly. It's you. The words hung between them, an acknowledgement of the connection that had formed in the crucible of crisis and deepened during their journey home. Jack reached across the space between their seats, his calloused fingers finding hers. I've been thinking, he said, uncharacteristic hesitation in his voice. That penalty I mentioned, the 80,000 credits. It means I'll need to take on extra runs to make it up. Elena's heart sank. So you'll be heading back out there immediately. Actually, Jack's thumb traced circles on her palm, I was thinking of a different approach. The scientific community would pay well for a specialized transport service, wouldn't they? One that could reach remote research stations, maybe with a scientist consultant on board who understands their needs. Elena's breath caught. Are you proposing a business partnership? Jack's smile crinkled the corners of his eyes. Among other things. Nova suddenly leapt from Elena's lap to Jack's, the fox's markings glowing bright blue, happiness, Elena knew from their shared neural link. She laughed. I think Nova approves. Smart fox, Jack said again, the phrase becoming something of an inside joke between them. His free hand stroked Nova's head while the other remained intertwined with Elena's. What do you think? The three of us, charting our own course. Elena looked from Jack to Nova, then to the approaching Earth. The research station had been her home for 2 years, a self-imposed isolation in pursuit of scientific discovery. She had never expected to find connection so far from humanity, first with Nova, now with this unexpected man who had risked everything to save them. I think, she said carefully, that sometimes the universe has better plans than we do. Jack's expression softened. He leaned across the space between them, his intention clear. Elena met him halfway, their lips finding each other in a kiss that felt like coming home after a long journey. Nova chirped approvingly between them, her markings pulsing in time with their accelerated heartbeats. When they parted, Jack rested his forehead against hers. Is that a yes, Dr. Reyes? It's a yes, she confirmed, smiling against his lips. But there's something you should know about long-term neural connections with genetically modified organisms. Jack raised his scarred eyebrow. What's that? The link goes both ways. Nova's been influencing my emotions. making me more receptive to connection, more open to bonding. Jack laughed, the sound rumbling through his chest. Are you saying your fox is playing matchmaker? In a manner of speaking. She recognized something in you that resonated with both of us. Well, Jack said, pulling her closer, I've made worse business decisions than partnering with a brilliant scientist and her telepathic matchmaking fox. The Stardust Drifter began its descent toward Earth, navigation lights blinking in the growing atmosphere. Elena felt the weight of the past, her isolated research, the traumatic accident, the acceptance of death, lifting from her shoulders. In its place was something unexpected, a future unplanned but full of promise, a connection forged in the cold void of space but warm with possibility. New mission parameters, she murmured against Jack's shoulder, Nova nestled between them, a family forged in stardust. New horizons, Jack agreed, his arms tightening around her as Earth grew larger in the viewport, welcoming them home. Nova's markings pulsed one final time, not with fear or caution or even happiness, but with something Elena recognized immediately through their connection. Something she now felt herself, against all scientific probability, against all odds. Love, found in the most unlikely of places, stronger for the void it had crossed to exist.